Welcome to Bible in the Backyard. Here we are in our backyard in Jamaica Estates, Queens. Bamidbar chapter 34. This chapter is all about borders and boundaries and describes the borders of the Holy Land. What do you want to say about kind of boundaries in general or borders? They don't seem to correspond with much of what we see later on in Israel history, but what can you offer about just the idea that we have this whole description chapter about the borders?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we get a lot of different textual maps of the land of Israel in the Torah, all of which, of course, are prescriptive. This is the land that you will have. This one seems a bit odd. It goes all the way up north and includes the lands that we know later will be the Phoenician lands. Includes all the way to the Mediterranean, which is the land of the Plishtim. Doesn't go over the Jordan River, but it explicitly says at the end of the chapter that that's because the other side of the Jordan River is the other 2.5 tribes. So that also links back to something we talked about a couple of days ago. That other side of the Jordan River, it won't even be included in the map, right? It's a different color on the map. Even though it's settled by Israelites, that's the other side of the Jordan River. But it is a list of borders that doesn't correspond to anything that we know of later on. There was no time in the history of Israel where they controlled all the Phoenician territories, but not the Golan, for example. So there is something I think maybe said about the between the waters, the Mediterranean Sea to the Jordan, as being somehow the ideal land of Israel. I'm not sure what to say about this in relation to other maps, but in this one at least, as they're getting to the Jordan River, it's like we're going to cross one body of water, and between that body of water and that other body of water, that's the promised land. That'll never be realized in the history of Israel. That was never realized, but that seems to be the ideal sketched out here.
Why the water? Like, why is that body between the water? What's ideal? Is there something significant about the water?
I don't know. It's a great question. There is of course purity to water. Water can never be impure. Ezekiel, in his vision of a future land of Israel, does have rivers running out of Jerusalem that will sort of magically water the land in a very equal way. I don't know what to say more specifically than that, but I think the water as a marker of territory seems intuitively important.
Yeah, it's very contained also, right? Like if another land mass was at the border, then in theory your people can kind of migrate into that land. And here you actually can't migrate into the water. So there is this like natural containment that's bounded by the water. So
of course today the phrase from the Jordan to the sea is a problematic phrase, but it is the map in Numbers 34.
Okay, great. Thank you.